the dirty, how you live. You got the good, the bad, the dirty, how you live. You got the good, the bad, the dirty. You got the good, the bad, the dirty.
All right, welcome back to another episode of DD30 with your boy Ragz. Before we get started, I gotta give a special shout out to all the mothers. If you're watching this, Mother's Day did just pass, so I have to give a shout out to my mothers out there, all the great ones, especially my mom and my sister, who is also a great mom. Want to also give a shout out to all my fans out there again for supporting me, subscribing, retweeting, sharing my stuff, all that great stuff. It definitely motivates me. I love every time I see you guys. Y'all are always bringing it up to me. It's definitely noted. It's definitely noticed. And again, hit me up if you want to be on the show. This is your network. It's going to be big. I'm working out all the kinks right now, trying to get my feet wet with the first year. I have some great ideas. The fantasy baseball show is on the way. You got to look out for episode 2 of The Clean featuring PDL. Got to give PDL a shout out, providing diverse lifestyles. Got to give him a shout out. They supplied me with this great jersey, great look. The high school LeBron James stitched up. Just a special thanks from them. So I got to give them a shout out. They are supplying the jersey for the episode today. So not going to talk too much because we have a lot of great news. So we're just going to get right down and dirty. All right. So let's get down and dirty. No, baseball season is here, so I got to kick it off with baseball. A month is already in the books, and we have some great news, some great things to talk about. I'm not going to go into too much into the down and dirty because we have some topics that we're just going to scan over before we get into a little bit more details in the end of the show, right? So it's been about a month. It's been some great things, you know. There's been a lot of no-hitters so far, so is the no-hitter a little bit overrated? I think that's something that we should discuss at the end of the show. If you think it's overrated or not, definitely leave a comment and tell us your views on what you think about the no-hitter. There's been 4 no-hitters so far. On top of that, Bumgarner's 7-inning no-hitter, which doesn't technically count as one. So technically there's been 5 no-hitters. So a lot of things that are being talked about right now is, hey, is the no-hitter becoming less of a feat, right? So we're going to talk about that a little bit more later, right? So there's also, there's so much sports news to talk about. We're going to talk about some surprise teams in the MLB. Of course, you know my Red Sox are number 1 in the MLB power ranking when nobody picked us. So we're definitely going to get into that a little bit more. You know I want to talk about that. Some things to look for. Like I said, my fantasy baseball show will be coming out soon as well, called Same Dirt. All right, so that is going to be a strictly baseball show. I'm so excited for that. That's going to be for all my baseball fans out there. You're going to see clips. You're going to have fun content. You're going to have some special guests. You're going to have all that good stuff, right? So be ready for that, okay? You'll definitely see some news on Facebook and my Instagram. Oh, yeah. If you haven't followed the Dirty Network Instagram, you need to do that as well, all right? Hit me up if you haven't found it. You'll find it all in the bios, okay? We're not going to get into that too much. So, also in Down and Dirty, we're gonna tease the little talk later for some NBA playoffs because it is right around the corner. There's about 4 or 5 games left for about everybody. Of course, the Lakers is the big news right now, with them actually being the 7th seed in the brink of being in a part of that play-in tournament, which was just developed this year. How exciting is that going to be to have exciting regular season games before the playoff starts? I actually love it. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that later. Again, this is your network. Please leave a comment if you think the NBA new playoff format is good for the NBA, which I mean the play-in tournament, which I believe the 9 and 10 seed have a chance to be either the 8th or 7th seed and make it to the playoffs as well. So definitely exciting. We're definitely going to talk about that more. You know I got to talk about the Nets as well. Basically, the question is now, are they going to be healthy enough to get out the East? I think that's a very interesting conversation that we should definitely have. Of course, we all know if the Nets are fully healthy, they're probably going to be unstoppable. But the question is, are they fully healthy? That is a really big concern. So we'll definitely talk about that more. And we'll talk about, are the Lakers in trouble? And also the MVP. I mean, the season is almost up. I think it's we have a clear look on who might be the MVP. There's been a lot of talk lately about, hey, should Steph Curry be in the conversation? Should Chris Paul actually be winning the MVP over Jokic? Has Embiid missed too many games? So many different topics on that one. We're going to talk about that a little bit later as well. Also, when it comes to football, there's a lot of football news with the draft being over. How does my Jaguars look after the draft? We'll definitely get into that. There has been some news about Tim Tebow signing as a tight end. We're not going to get too much into that because he's just going to be a backup guy, so I don't want us to be too distracted on that, okay? But the fact of the matter is, I love what we did in the draft. There's some other teams that did some really good things as well, like the 49ers. I think they did a really good job taking Trey Lance where they did. But we're also going to talk about some guys who might not have done too well, in my opinion. So sit back and relax. We got some great topics. Also, I did see the track and field event this weekend, the Golden Games. Very good event. Beautiful event. DK Metcalf ran in it, which gave it a little bit more publicity. But the track star from LSU, can't think of her last name right. She was amazing. That was one of the craziest things I've ever seen on a track. Like, the way she ran with so much ease, even after getting a bad start. Like, I got to give a shout out to all the track and field stars out there. Y'all make it look easy. Like I always said, I never could run for fun. That was my thing. When it came to sports, I could never run for fun. So I always had great respect for the track and field team. So sit back and relax. I see there's so many great topics. There's so many things to do. Shout out to you. Sit back and relax. And we're going to get into the Dirtbag next. All right? After this commercial. Shout out to you guys for sticking with me, and welcome back to DD30 on the Dirty Network with your boy Ragz. We're going to get right into the Dirtbag segment, one of my favorite segments, of course, where we give somebody some love who doesn't get a lot of shine. And of course, since it's baseball season, we're going to kick off with baseball Dirtbag. And I have to give love to this guy because I wanted to do it when I first kicked off the show. Got to give Nicholas Castellanos some love, man. Cincinnati Reds outfielder, all right? I'm going to talk about him now because he got off to a firing hot start to the season. Right now, he's hitting about .316 with 9 home runs and 20 RBIs. He is the leader of the Cincinnati Reds right now, and he definitely is showing it. This guy has always been underrated, I feel like, even when he was a Detroit Tiger. He came up as a guy who was supposed to be a big prospect, big power guy. And after 3 or 4 years, let's just say he didn't put up the numbers people were expecting him to put. Because nowadays, people want you to be Mike Trout and Ronald Acuna Jr. and Tatis. And once you jump on the scene, they want you to hit 30 bombs and hit over, 300. But some guys actually take time to develop. They need to, get their timing, things like that, right? It just, sometimes things click later. When Castellanos got traded over from the Tigers, that's exactly what happened. He wants to win, and when he was on the Tigers, that wasn't really a winning situation for him. So now he's on a team where he is the leader, and I feel like he has high expectations for his team. I love to see things like that. He got in a big fight early in the season, which actually got him suspended for a couple of games. But sometimes that's what you got to do, Fire your teammates up, tell them that losing is not acceptable, And sometimes that's what it takes. So right now, the Reds are a respectable team. They have really good hitting. For some reason now, their pitching's not good. It seems like with the Reds, it's like one year their hitting is good, then their pitching is bad, and then their pitching is good, then their hitting is bad. So maybe they could find somebody in the trade deadline where they could give them some innings and get that team into the playoffs, because I like the Reds. I think they're a sneaky team in the National League Central as well. But we'll talk about division winners and all that good stuff a little bit later. But the man is definitely dropping bombs. Maybe I'll show you guys some highlights before we leave of him dropping bombs and styling on guys and pimping stuff and just standing over people and doing all that great stuff, right? So got to give a shout out to Nicholas Castellanos on the Dirtbag segment today. All right? We'll be right back to end the show with the dirt and all the great news that's around the league. All right, so sit back and relax after this. All right, welcome back to DD30 with your boy Ragz. And now it's time to get into the dirt, which of course is all the great news that we got going on in sports. So we got a lot of news, so we're going to just jump right into it and talk about some more baseball on the top, right? Because we're about a month into the season, and there's a lot of big surprises that I want to talk about. Of course, first talking about the Boston Red Sox, which a lot of people had finishing 4th or 5th in the AL East. They actually have the best record in the MLB right now and number 1 in the power rankings. So give my boys a shout out. The Red Sox, got to give my boys a shout out. You know that. You know that. And the surprising part about our Red Sox is not the hitting, because I knew my team was going to hit. All right. The reason why I even had some questions about the team is I just didn't think the pitching staff would get it done. And the fact of the matter is that's exactly what's happening. Eduardo Rodriguez, the lefty, every time he pitches it seems like we win. Evaldi, he's a journeyman, he's a horse, he's somebody who's going to give you innings even if he has a bad day. He's definitely a good number 2. Chris Sale should be coming back in a month or so that's definitely something good to look forward to. I love the team. We have Alex Cora back after his 1-year suspension. It obviously shows that coaching makes a big difference. I mean, he is telling these hitters, or he is giving them the confidence that they need to come out and perform every day, especially when it comes to Bogarts, who is also somebody who's underrated and one of the better shortstops in the entire league. JD Martinez, all he does is hit. He's going to be like Nelson Cruz going into his 40, 41, 42-year season still hitting bombs. He's just going to be able to hit. That's just what's going to happen. The Red Sox pitching is one of my biggest surprise points at the time. Let's see if it holds up, because that's the big thing. We're doing very good now. I don't want to jinx anything, but let's see if it holds up. So another great surprise. I went for the first month story. Got to talk about this guy right here. The catcher or DH for the Chicago White Sox, Yermin Mercedes, or the Yerminator they call him, right? I had to talk about this guy because he started the season 8 for 8, right? And I mean, broke onto the scene. That is something that that's not easy to do. I'll tell you that right now. To start the season and you've never played on the big league stage before, and to start your career 8 for 8, that is big. That is huge. And on top of that, now he's hitting bombs. He's keeping it up. He's hitting over 300. He hit a 485-foot bomb. Maybe I have to show that clip over here. But a huge bomb. Like, oh my God, this dude rakes, and I love his game, right? I just love guys who just hit. Like, he rolls out of bed and hits. And that's why I love the DH as well. We need to get the DH in the NL because it gives guys jobs, right, who can hit. Pitchers don't want to hit. Let that guy who's 40 years old that might not be able to play the position no more. He might not be able to run out in the outfield, but he can still swing the bat. Let's give these guys an extra shot in the NL, right? So definitely got to be surprised by Yermin Mercedes. Definitely check him out if you're watching the White Sox. Now, got to get to the disappointments, of course, and it pains me to say, sarcastically, that the Yankees are definitely on my disappointment list. They started off pretty bad in the season for a team that was projected to win the World Series. But, I mean, these are things that I've said before that we're going to bite them in the butt. The pitching is just bad, other than Garrett Cole. I mean, they have guys that were good a couple years ago, like we were saying Jamison Tyon and we were saying Corey Kubler, but those guys can't be expected to be your number 2 and your number 3, especially in the AL East, which is a very tough division. And the American League will have a lot of bangers as well. So I just didn't like that formula for success. Now, the Yankees have been playing better lately, all right, don't get me wrong, but they're in kind of a weak spot of their schedule too, let's just be honest. But they are struggling, and other than what you're seeing from Stanton right now, who gets ballistic hot, it seems like he always has a stretch where he's going to go ballistic. So we expect that from him. Judge does not look as good as he used to for me. I don't know if the injuries are piling up on him. Doesn't look as smooth and easy as it used to. So some guys are struggling. Gary Sanchez lost his starting catcher job to Higashioka, who's been hitting better and playing better defense than him. So that's kind of a disappointment as well. Expect the Yankees to make a trade. That's what I'm going to say here. You're going to probably see a Max Scherzer push. I'm not so sure if the Nationals let go of Max Scherzer for cheap. But I don't see why they would not try to at least call and get him. That would be something. I mean, the Red Sox should call Max Scherzer too, to be honest. But the Yankees are definitely going to be looking for some starting pitching, some depth as well. I think they might make a move to the Cubs as well and take a look at maybe a package deal that gets you Hendricks, that gets you Rizzo, and gets you Baez, something. I feel like they're going to throw something out there if they're third in the division and, the All-Star break is coming up. They're going to try something, right? And Gleyber Torres might be in that deal. I know he's been playing a lot better lately. But, yeah, that's just how I go. Another disappointing player, and this pains me to say, but we have to talk about Lindor. And the fact of the matter is, there's always the discussion of the New York market. Some markets are just too big for other guys. We've seen it plenty of times. For example, Sonny Gray, when he came over from the Athletics over to the Yankees that one year, he was having a ballistic year. He was shoving for the Athletics, for the Oakland A's. And when he got to the New York Yankees, it just seemed like he was a totally different pitcher. So he gets traded to the Reds, and then he goes back to normal form. So some players just don't do good in the spotlight. That just is what it is. Some players play better in the spotlight, right? So that's how it goes. So I got to talk about Lindor here, just because it looks like he's pressing just a little bit. Mets fans out there, you definitely are booing way too early. This man, he's adjusting his whole life. He lived in Cleveland for most of his life, right? Now he's in New York City, way faster pace than Cleveland. You got to catch him some slack, man. He's doing way more stuff than he's probably ever been doing before when it comes to off-the-field activities as well. Because when you're in that New York market, you're not just playing anymore. Now you're a figure, right? He was walking in with the Coming to America jacket first day, right? So you're automatically a figure there. You're the shortstop for the New York Mets. So you got to give this guy a break. But he is struggling. It is disappointing because I thought Lindor would tear it up to start the month because he starts off fast. He's a fast starter. But he does get streaky as well. And you could tell in his mechanics that he's pressing just a little bit. So that's a little disturbing. Of course, the whole thing with the rat and the fight with Jeff McNeil. Very funny, very comical. You might see that on the poopers at the end of the show because that was very funny. But come on, Lindor. You're pressing, man. You're lying to the media. You're scuffling with your teammates. You just got to snap out of it. You hit a bomb over the weekend. That was nice. Get it going, man, because I love to see you play. So get it going, man. Get that energy. Your team needs you. Also, some baseball. We're going to talk about division winners and all that stuff a little bit later in the year. I have my predictions out there. If you want to know my predictions, you could go ahead and hit me up. I'm not going to put them on the show. I've already put them out there. Series favorites are right now. Go ahead and hit me up. Or you're going to have to check out one of the baseball shows that are coming up because we don't have a lot of time. So, let's talk about some basketball, and we could talk more baseball later. Couple games left, and everybody is worried about the Los Angeles Lakers, right? Is AD going to be healthy? Is LeBron going to be healthy? Are they going to make it out the first round? Are they going to make it out of the play-in tournament, which LeBron showed that he is not too happy about the play-in tournament, right? But hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. So, at the end of the day, who should be more worried? The Lakers or the teams in the play-in tournament? Because maybe the Lakers are there, and when they have LeBron and AD, maybe they won't have a chance. My thing is, I don't think the Lakers should be looking forward to playing a play-in tournament game. Now, I don't understand the rules 100%, so I'm not going to act like I do, but don't give yourself a chance to get knocked out before the playoffs get started. That's what I'm going to say. That is not going to be a good look for LeBron, and I don't think LeBron wants no part of that. Like, he would not be happy if that happened. I believe that. So, I like it, like I said, because it puts more importance on the regular season. It also allows teams to, give yourself more playoff atmosphere early. It gets you ready for the playoffs, right? And then when you get in the playoffs, we've seen that before, where wild card teams in baseball, like the Nationals a couple years ago, they played that game to get them in, and then they just got hot and kept winning, right? That could get your team hot, and you never know. So the Lakers, in my opinion, are they in trouble? I don't think so, as long as LeBron and AD are playing. I don't care if they're even 100% healthy. If LeBron and AD are playing in the play-in tournament, they are not going to let that team lose. AD put up 40 points the other day. He seems like he's healthy. We just got to see how healthy LeBron is. But if both of them play, the Lakers don't have anything to worry about in the play-in. Now, they might have to worry about the Clippers or the Nuggets, very strong team. Even the Jazz, very strong team at home, and they got a home field advantage right now. So those are going to be some teams to look out for, stopping them from getting to the Western Conference Finals or to the NBA Finals. So I'm not worried about the Lakers. You tell me if you're worried about the Lakers. I know there's a lot of Laker fans out there. Tell me if you're a Lakers fan, are you worried about your team? Also, got to talk about the MVP race since the season is almost over. There's been a lot of talk around who should be considered the MVP. Jokic right now is the favorite, the Vegas favorite. I don't have the odds in front of me right now, but I know last time I checked he was the favorite. Damian Lillard, his team has been seesawing back and forth, so people have really stopped talking about him. And the conversation has been moved to, should Steph Curry get more consideration? Should Chris Paul get more consideration? Right, the point guards that are putting up some pretty good numbers right now. So my opinion is, I believe Chris Paul should definitely get some more consideration. If not number one, but should 2 or 3, because his team last year, the Phoenix Suns, were nowhere near sniffing the number 1 seed like they are now. They are a way better team than they were last year. Chris Paul is definitely the reason. He makes bad teams good. He's always done that. So what is value? A player that's going to make my team better. And he's the most valuable player to that team. Maybe the most valuable player in the league. Because like I said, if you take him off that team, they're not even sniffing the playoffs. Right? Especially the way they've been playing. So I got to give Chris Paul some love. He's definitely been there. He hasn't missed a lot of games. But I can't take away from what Jokic has been doing. He's been doing great things all season. He's kind of unfair advantage because he's a big guy who always has the ball in his hand at the top of the key. So he's getting assists, he's scoring, he's doing everything. He can see over the whole defense, so it's not really fair. Steph Curry, I'm just going to say this. He puts up great numbers. He's an amazing shooter in my book. Top 5 point guard of all time, absolutely. But I'm not going to give him MVP this year because his team is barely over 500. Like, on top of that, yes, their team is very depleted, don't get me wrong, but they have some pieces. I know their rookie went out early, but they still have Draymond Green, which is supposed to be the best defensive player in the league. They also have Wiggins, which is a great athletic player, Oubre, wing guy, defender, slasher. There's some guys there. They're not a great team, but, give me 5th seed, give me 4th seed, like Chris Paul is doing, and then maybe we'll talk about it. But no, I'm not going to give it to him. Embiid and Harden, of course, they missed a lot of games, so we're not even going to talk about them. Right now, if I were to do it, I would say Jokic 1, I would go Chris Paul 2, and then I would go maybe Damian Lillard 3, fighting with, maybe Embiid. But again, Embiid missed a lot of games. Let's talk about some football. All right. So the draft had just passed, and it was an amazing draft. I loved every minute of it, especially the first day draft. We got Trevor Lawrence with the #1 pick. All my Jags fans out there, and on top of that, we got Travis Etienne with our second pick. So I was definitely happy with day one. I slept like a baby after that because we have some great weapons, and I can't wait for next season. I will be getting season tickets, definitely, unless the Jags want to send me some season tickets for always having you guys' back and always loving you guys. I mean, I have a Ramsey jersey in that I haven't burned yet. That jersey might make an appearance on this show. But, you know, give me some love, okay? So, got to talk about some draft picks. We're not going to talk too much about the draft. But I do want to talk about a couple key things because this has been some topics that I've been waiting for. Of course, with the quarterbacks. Of course, we're not going to talk too much about Trevor Lawrence. That was a foregone conclusion. We know my boy is going to the Jags. My thing is the 49ers at number 3 taking Trey Lance. The amazing move. Oh, my goodness. Everybody was thinking Mac Jones and maybe it's somebody else, but I just had a feeling there's no way you move up to get a guy who is going to be outdated in the next couple of years. And Mac Jones is a great quarterback, don't get me wrong, but I just think the league has caught up to that type of quarterback. The league is more athletic. You have to be able to get away from defenders, right? It's not that, pocket quarterbacks don't exist no more. It's just it's easier to succeed when you can get away from the rusher, like Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is not running on 4 threes, but he could at least get away, you know what I'm saying? So glad Trey Lance is at the 49ers. That's a great fit for him. He can sit behind Jimmy G for a good year, maybe come in half of the year because Jimmy G is gonna get hurt. Sad to say, he always gets hurt. That's not I'm wishing that on him. He's always hurt, and it sucks, you know. But that's what it is. That's why you go up and draft a quarterback because you don't know if your starting quarterback's even gonna be there. So that was amazing. Also, got to talk about the Jets. Have to talk about the Jets because, like I've been saying all along, and now it's on record, the Jets taking Zach Wilson will be the biggest mistake of this draft, the 2021 draft. Zach Wilson, number 2, instead of taking Justin Fields, which should have been the number 2 pick, and he seemed like he was the number 2 pick all the way into the national championship game, where the game before that, he played outstanding, maybe the best game of his career, and beat Trevor Lawrence head-to-head. 6 touchdown passes. People were talking about will he go number 1, and out of nowhere, he's the 11th pick. I've never in my life seen a change like that, where you come from a guy who was going to be the number 1 or number 2 pick. You won a game. You beat the number 1 pick, and weeks later, you fall behind 3 other guys. I've never seen that happen. I've had the discussion with my friends before. I feel like if the roles were changed and Trevor Lawrence was number 2 and Justin Fields was number 1 projected, right? And Trevor Lawrence came in and beat up on Justin Fields' team, right? And just tore him up, 6 touchdowns, this and that, right? We would say, oh, Trevor Lawrence, he played hurt, he did this and that and this, and he would raise up to the number 1 pick while Justin Fields fell, right? The total opposite happened, and it's crazy to me. But we're not going to get into that. Like I said, Zach Wilson, I'm not wishing bad on anybody. I just think that's a lot for him to handle, and he's going to be on a bad team in a good league when he used to be the good guy on a bad team in a bad league, right? Playing on BYU. So things are going to be a lot different, and he's not Justin Fields. I don't think he's as tough as Justin Fields. The man played with basically a broken rib in the national championship. So Zach Wilson's definitely something to look out for. I'm definitely excited to see it. Don't get me wrong. There's some great things going on with that. Now, also want to talk about, which quarterback is going to perform the best. There's a lot of discussion about which one of the first-round quarterbacks will make the playoffs first or be starting in the playoffs first. So everybody knows that Trevor Lawrence is going to be starting for the Jaguars week 1. We all know that. Gardner Minshew is going to be there, but this is Trevor Lawrence's job, right? We want to get him going immediately. For some reason, people think the Jaguars are just an awful team, and we're not, all right? I just think we were set up to fail last year, which was okay. Trevor Lawrence is going to be the number 1 pick, okay? We traded away our best cornerback in Jalen Ramsey a couple years ago. We traded away all our best defensive players, our best defensive tackle, Calais Campbell. We traded away a defensive end. We've traded away. I mean, we dropped our running back. Like, you don't think we were trying? Like, our team was not set up to win that year, which was okay. It's a rebuild. That's what rebuilding is. But now we have the weapons and the tools to at least be respectable in a division that I feel like is not too bad. There's a lot of questions in our division, right? You have the Indianapolis Colts, who have Carson Wentz, which nobody knows what Carson Wentz is right now. Is he going to be healthy? Is he going to be accurate? Is he going to be a bad decision maker? Nobody knows, right? So that's a mystery with the Colts, who have a good roster, but who knows when you don't have the good quarterback? We've seen that before, right? And then you have the Houston Texans, right, with Deshaun Watson. Who knows if he's even going to play? Who knows what he's even going to happen with that whole situation, right? So you can just throw the Texans out of there, right? They're not even going to be respectable. So that I want us to, we should beat them twice, hopefully. But that's usually not how football works. But, I mean, the Texans, that's probably going to be the worst team in the division. And then you have the Titans, right? Now, the Titans are always a strong team. They have a very respectable quarterback, Ryan Tannehill, and they have Derrick Henry, the Hammer, who always gives us trouble. That is the team that I would be worried about the most in our division. They've won the division the past couple of years, too, as well. And they're prime and ready to win. But if we could get past the Titans, maybe split with them, I think we could at least scrape in the wild card. Luckily, if we're lucky enough, win a division, which would make Trevor Lawrence a starting QB in the playoffs. Now, compared to Zach Wilson and the Jets, they're not gonna. I don't see them getting to the playoffs. They're not that good of a team. The Bears, I think Justin Fields will be starting for the Bears as soon as he's ready, which could be week 1, because they're trying to save their jobs there. And Nick Foles and Andy Dalton, I'll tell you, they ain't winning that division. So they won't be in the playoffs if they start. But Justin Fields gives them a good chance. But I don't have the Bears winning the playoffs, getting to the playoffs at this time. So I'm not gonna pick them even making the playoffs. And then you have to talk about the Patriots, and then you have to talk about the 49ers, right? So the Patriots with Cam Newton, I think they're going to be poised to win. Like, I don't think they're going to go back and forth between quarterbacks. If Mac Jones is ready to play, he's going to play, but I'm not too sure if he's going to be NFL ready right off the rip, right? So look for Cam Newton to start a lot of games, and they have a lot of weapons now. If Cam Newton can't get it done, they'll go to Mac Jones. But if Cam Newton can't get it done, I don't think they'll make it to the playoffs anyway. So I'm not going to say Mac Jones either. Now, Trey Lance is an interesting quarterback in this discussion, because I think he, out of other than Trevor Lawrence, because he's going to be starting week 1, I feel like Trey Lance has the better chance to be starting meaningful games for the 49ers, other than, Zach Wilson and others. Because Jimmy G's not that, he just doesn't stay healthy. That's the thing. So I think they're going to be getting him ready quick, or as quick as possible, because they want to get back in the playoffs. They were just in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. They have a roster that's good enough to get back, but they have to have good quarterback play. So that is definitely something that I would look out for. Trey Lance maybe starting for the 49ers after Jimmy G gets hurt, because they said they're going to go with Jimmy G, but Jimmy G's not going to play all 17 games. I'll tell you that right now. I'll put everything in the world on that Jimmy G will not play 17 games. I can promise you that. Okay? So definitely some great things to look for when it comes to the quarterbacks. My pick for which quarterback is going to make it to the playoffs, of course, is going to be Trevor Lawrence. I got the Jaguars winning the division this year, okay? Debate it with your mama. Debate it with one of those guys on ESPN, because I know what it is. We have some great weapons on offense, and I cannot wait till everybody is on our bandwagon, because I've been taking tabs with all you guys that have been doubting us and saying that we're not good. Don't turn around and say, oh, well, yeah, they got Trevor Lawrence. I knew they were going to. No, you didn't, okay? No, you did not. All right, all you guys have doubted us, okay? So I'm so happy to talk about these great things with you guys, and I can't wait. Definitely want to check out my episodes coming up soon. If you haven't followed my social media platforms yet, please do so. That's DDTV or the Dirty DA30 Network. It's on Facebook. It is on YouTube. It is on Instagram right now. So shout out to you. With that being said, we're gonna go into some funny clips. We're gonna go into the Cooper clips, and then we're gonna get out of here. All right. So thanks again for watching DDTV with your boy Ragz. All right. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube. The link's in the bio. Peace, my guy.
I was like, hey, I'd never seen a New York rat, so we went down sprinting. I want to go see a New York rat, and he got mad at me. He's like, no, it's not a rat. It's a raccoon. I'm like, hell no, man. It's a damn rat. It's a New York rat, man. I was just crazy because we were going back and forth debating if it was a rat or a raccoon.
He said, nice debate about, a rat or a raccoon. To be honest, I thought it was actually a possum. So, not a raccoon.
Willing to say that this whole thing was over a rat and a raccoon, or was there?
I don't know. I don't know what it was about. Like I said, when I got down there to the tunnel, and then the only thing I can recall is Francisco telling me.
Guys, all right, make sure you subscribe on DDTV, YouTube.com. All right, make sure you hit that little bell thing so you get all the notifications when my new episode comes out. Look out for the fantasy football show. My fantasy baseball show coming out. Same dirt. All right, the artwork's gonna be coming out soon for that. Make sure you guys send me more stuff because I love it. And a shout out to you guys all at home doing big things. It's your network, baby. DDTV, you know what it is. Subscribe right now. The Dirty Network on YouTube. Go.